Have you ever imagined waking up one day to find that the world's balance of power has completely changed? That the nation everyone thought was behind has suddenly overtaken the strongest superpower on Earth? This isn't science fiction. This is happening right now, and the country at the center of this massive shift is India. What if everything you thought about global power and influence was about to change in a single moment? The world today is standing at the edge of a transformation so big that even the strongest superpowers did not see it coming. India, a country once underestimated and seen as a follower, has risen with a speed that has shocked the entire planet. For years, the United States was considered untouchable in terms of economy, technology, and global dominance. But now, something no one imagined has taken place. Economists are rushing to recalculate their predictions. Leaders across the globe are nervous, holding late-night meetings and revising old strategies. The balance of international power has been rewritten before their very eyes. India's economy is not just growing, it is expanding faster than any other nation on Earth. Its technology exports have crossed milestones never achieved before, pushing the United States into an uncomfortable race to catch up. In the corridors of Washington, a quiet sense of alarm is spreading. Policymakers are being forced to reconsider alliances, trade rules, and long-term strategies behind tightly closed doors. The question echoing everywhere is simple yet powerful. How did India make the impossible happen? And even more importantly, what will this mean for the next stage of global power and influence? To understand this rise, we must look back at India's journey. In 1991, the country faced enormous struggles. Poverty was widespread, unemployment was a serious problem, and the economy moved at a slow pace that frustrated millions. At that time, the world looked at India as a place of hidden potential, but very few truly believed that such potential could be unlocked in just a few decades. Yet change was coming. The turning point arrived when India chose a new path, a path of economic reforms that welcomed foreign investment, opened the doors of trade, and built stronger links with global markets. Fast forward to 2025, and the results are astonishing. India has not only closed the gap with the United States in several crucial areas, but even surpassed it in some places that once seemed impossible to touch. Cities like Mumbai, Bengaluru, and Hyderabad no longer fit the old image of crowded towns struggling with growth. Today, they rise with shining skyscrapers, modern business centers, and technology parks that rival the best in the world. Technology giants such as Infosys, Tata Consultancy Services, and new challengers like Wipro are not just serving clients, they are driving digital innovation across continents. Numbers tell their own story. India's GDP growth has reached a stunning 8.3%, while the United States is at only 2.1%. These figures are not just dry statistics, they represent the scale of India's progress and the massive shift in global economics. India is now the third largest economy in the world, moving past Germany and Japan, and steadily closing in on the United States. Its cities are glowing with advanced infrastructure, airports that welcome millions, and research hubs that push the limits of science and technology. One of the greatest turning points was the Digital India campaign. This vision changed the daily lives of millions by bringing fast internet, digital services, and mobile connectivity even to remote and rural villages. Suddenly, farmers, students, and small shopkeepers could access the same digital world as people in metropolitan cities. Today, India stands as the leading hub of technology talent and digital creativity. Its engineers, programmers, and developers form not only the backbone of Silicon Valley, but also the engines driving innovation in Europe, Asia, and beyond. International investors have taken notice of this unstoppable wave. Billions of dollars are being poured into Indian startups, sparking chains of innovation and entrepreneurship. Every year, hundreds of new startups are born, and many quickly grow into unicorns valued at over $1 billion. This is not just about money, it is about confidence. The world sees India as a safe and promising ground for future growth. But the rise of India is not limited to economic charts and corporate success stories. It represents a deep change in global influence. India today is a crucial part of supply chains that link the world together. From semiconductors to life-saving medicines, from software to green technology, India has become a central node that cannot be ignored. For decades, the United States assumed it would always control these chains. But India's rapid rise has taken Washington by surprise. The scale and pace of growth were far faster than what American policymakers ever imagined. In the field of technology, India has left experts stunned. Within just 10 years, the nation built itself into a global tech powerhouse, with Bengaluru standing proudly as its heart. This city, often called the Silicon Valley of the East, is home to thousands of startups and some of the fastest-growing unicorns on the planet. Indian IT exports now exceed $250 billion, a figure that has gone beyond US software exports. Every corner of the world now depends in some way on Indian innovation. More than 60% of Fortune 500 companies have Indian tech teams working on their most critical projects. Whether it is artificial intelligence, cloud computing, or cybersecurity, Indian experts are leading from the front. They are not just following trends, they are shaping the very future of global technology. And the story does not stop here. India's space program, led by ISRO, has become a symbol of what is possible when determination meets innovation. The agency has successfully launched human-rated deep space missions at only a fraction of NASA's cost. These missions have not only advanced science, but also inspired a generation of young Indians to dream bigger. Schools across the country now look up to ISRO scientists as national heroes. Children imagine futures not only as doctors or engineers, but as astronauts, inventors, and pioneers of new worlds. India's rise is more than a shift in statistics. It is a psychological shift, a cultural shift, and a reminder that history is never fixed. The nation that was once seen as struggling has now become a leader. Its story is rewriting how the world sees power, opportunity, and destiny. And this is only the beginning. The next chapter of global influence will not be written in Washington or Beijing alone. It will also be written in New Delhi, Mumbai, and Bengaluru. While India's rise in technology caught Wall Street by surprise, it was India's demographic strength and entrepreneurial drive that unsettled Washington even more. With a population crossing 1.44 billion, India became the most populated nation in 2023, overtaking China. But this story is not only about numbers. More than 65% of Indians are below the age of 35, making it the youngest large country in the world. This wave of youth powers ambition, creativity, and economic energy. Urbanization is also speeding up, with over 35% of citizens now living in towns and cities, and the figure is steadily rising. India's demographic gift has turned into a foundation of economic and intellectual force. The median age is just 28, nearly a decade younger than in America. Reforms in education have opened doors to top universities and technical centers. Today, Indian higher education institutions rank among the top 200 globally, producing millions of doctors, engineers, and innovators every year. The Indian Institutes of Technology and Management serve as global factories of skill and knowledge, shaping industries around the world. Women are playing a larger role too, leading startups, excelling in research and science, and holding important posts in both business and government. India's startup scene is now the third largest worldwide, home to over 100 unicorns. Young entrepreneurs are creating companies that set the direction for modern finance, health, and technology. The government has introduced many programs to push entrepreneurship at every level. Still, India faces challenges. Youth joblessness and underemployment remain real issues. The fast shift of people from rural areas to urban centres puts pressure on housing and infrastructure. The country also faces the problem of brain drain. as some of its brightest minds continue to move abroad. Yet the Indian community overseas, numbering more than 32 million, has become a strong force shaping global corporations and even world policies. Many of them are now choosing to return, bringing skills, capital, and connections with them. Leaders born in India today head global giants like Google, Microsoft, IBM, YouTube, Adobe, and MasterCard. Names like Sundar Pichai, Satya Nadella, Arvind Krishna, Neil Mohan, and Shantanu Narayan represent this global leadership shift. India's cultural reach is also spreading rapidly. Bollywood films top charts across continents. Indian food is celebrated in every corner of the world. Festivals such as Diwali brighten skylines from London to Sydney. Indian music, yoga, and art influence the daily lives of millions globally. America's own technology sector is increasingly tied to Indian innovation. With artificial intelligence and quantum computing defining the coming decade, India's impact is only going to increase further. Its population advantage combined with technological growth is not just reshaping its own future, but altering the global stage. But India's ambitions are not limited to technology alone. Its diplomatic and cultural weight now poses fresh challenges to Washington and signals a reshaping of the global order. Once seen as a quiet regional country, India's reputation has transformed into that of a serious world player. It now takes an active role in organizations like the UN, G20, and WTO, directly affecting global decisions. Under Prime Minister Narendra Modi, India has stepped into the spotlight as a strategic actor, hosting large global meetings and taking part in crucial international summits. Indian peacekeeping forces have earned respect worldwide, serving in dangerous areas of Africa and Asia. India has also joined alliances that directly challenge US-controlled financial systems, supporting the vision of a multipolar world. Its growing role in the semiconductor supply chain has reduced America's bargaining power, while drawing India closer to countries like Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan. Defense partnerships with France, Japan, and Australia have been developed outside the traditional US framework, showing New Delhi's independence. At the same time, India has strengthened regional relations by engaging with neighbors such as Bangladesh, Nepal, and Sri Lanka, increasing stability and cooperation in South Asia. For perhaps the first time in decades, Washington is realizing that it needs India more than India needs Washington. India's reach is now visible across major forums worldwide. One of the most striking shifts is its quiet challenge to the dominance of the US dollar. Trade agreements with Gulf states that use the Indian rupee instead of the dollar are setting a new example in the global energy trade. The launch of India's digital rupee puts it at the cutting edge of financial technology and payment systems. In addition, India has taken leadership in clean energy by making big investments in wind and solar projects. It is working hard to fight climate change while ensuring independence in energy supply. India's promises to cut carbon emissions and its leading role in the International Solar Alliance highlight its importance in the climate movement. While the US continues to struggle with rising debt, India's foreign reserves are reaching new highs, giving it stronger negotiating power in global trade talks. This change is not only about economics, it shows a larger shift in global power. The United States is finding it difficult to adapt to India's new standing in world diplomacy and business. India's rise is sending powerful signals everywhere. The United States is racing to adjust. European nations are increasing their investments in India. Even China, long a rival, is being forced to deal with India in a more careful and strategic way. The question that now dominates debates is simple yet heavy. Who will shape the future, India or America? The world is watching this dramatic shift with close attention, realizing that a new chapter in global leadership is unfolding before our eyes.